The first half of 2024 came out strong with several great titles, and honestly, it doesn't seem like things are slowing down anytime soon. Today, we've put together a list of 28 upcoming titles that we can't wait to get our hands on. I'm your host Morgan, and these are our top picks for new releases in the second half of 2024. As a quick side note, the whole video is bookmarked, so feel free to jump around to whichever games you're most interested in. Starting off our list is the first Descendant, a new looter-shooter MMO similar to titles such as Warframe and Destiny. This one is being developed by Nexon Games and will be free to play. We had a lot of time playing this in the closed and open beta test, and it was honestly a lot of fun. The only issues we see going forward are in the monetization. As it is a Nexon game, there's gonna be a grindy aspect with a pay-to-skip option. If you're in the market for a new looter shooter, this one might be worth checking out. It'll be releasing on all platforms other than Switch on July 2nd. Later that month, we get Frostpunk 2, a sequel to the original taking place 30 years after the Great Storm. With it comes a much larger territory for you to build your city upon and new kinds of threats. Unlike the first one, the main threat this time is human nature as opposed to nature itself. In the first one, there was a lot of fun with really challenging decisions you'd have to make that really made you question whether or not to take the moral high ground, and we expect this one to do the same. If you're interested in putting your leadership skills to the test, Frostpunk 2 will be releasing to all major platforms other than Switch on July 25th. The next month, we'll be getting Stormgate, a new RTS set in a sci fantasy universe. This one has us pretty excited, as I can't remember the last time we got a game like this, and it's from the developers who originally worked on StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3. The game features 3 factions: Human Vanguard, Infernal Host, and the Celestial Armada. There's the typical 1v1s as well as a co-op mode where you can challenge the AI, and a competitive mode with a ranked ladder. There's also going to be a 3v3 mode, but it's currently still in development. Lastly, they've worked hard on creating more streamlined controls, thus making the barrier for entry easier for new players while offering a high skill cap for those who want to push beyond their limits. If you're looking to conquer your enemies, Stormgate will be releasing on PC August 13th. 1 week later, we'll be getting Black Myth Wukong, a new action RPG with a Souls-like combat system. It's based on one of the 4 classic novels of Chinese literature, Journey into the West. In it, you set out as the destined one to uncover the obscure truth beneath the veil. Along the way, you'll traverse breathtaking landscapes and undertake many challenging boss fights, each with their own unique strengths. Most of these bosses will have specific attack patterns and multiple stages you'll need to memorize in order to survive. As expected of Wukong, you'll have various staff techniques, and there will also be many spells and abilities for you to master. This has been one that we've had our eye on for a while, as the visuals are stunning and we can only hope the gameplay is just as polished. If you're looking to take on the role of the Monkey King, you'll be able to do so on all platforms other than Switch on August 20th. 10 days later, we get Star Wars Outlaws, an action-adventure game set in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. In it, you'll take on the role of an outlaw known as Kay Vess and be accompanied by her companion Nyx as you attempt the biggest heist the Outer Rim has ever seen. This one is a fully open world game, allowing you to explore several planets you may already know and a few new ones never before seen. The combat system is pretty diverse, offering you stealth and open combat, as well as vehicular and space combat. The story offers branching dialogue, so maybe there will be some replayability with that. This appears to be a Star Wars game with a lot of potential, though I do wish it was from a different developer, as Ubisoft has been on the bad end of a lot of hate recently, and for good reason. If you're interested in picking this one up, it'll be releasing to all major platforms other than Switch on August 30th. Starting off the next month, we'll be getting Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. This one is a sports game set in the Wizarding world, which I'm sure there's gotta be tons of people who've been waiting on a title like this. Currently, there's 3 different modes to choose from. Career mode, which takes you from backyard play all the way to the Quidditch World Cup. Then exhibition matches, where you set up your team, select your map, and difficulty level. Finally, there's player versus player in competitive online matches against other Quidditch teams. You'll be able to assume all their traditional roles in a match, such as chaser, seeker, keeper, or beater. If you're excited to play your first Quidditch match, this one will be releasing to all platforms on September 3rd. A few days later, we get Age of Mythology Retold, a remake to the classic RTS that released back in 2002. The game is set in a mythical era where gods, monsters, and humans clash. Some of the cool features to the game include the god system, where you can choose your own pantheon, whether it be Greek, Norse, Egyptian, or Atlantean. Also, you'll be able to take command of legendary creatures like centaurs and cyclops. The game offers multiplayer campaigns spanning over 50 missions across vast mythical lands. If you're into RTS games, this one will definitely be worth picking up when it drops on Xbox and PC September 4th. If you've been looking for a new survival shooter horror game, well, you might be in luck, as we may finally be getting Stalker 2. It's time to head back to the Chernobyl exclusion zone as you explore a 64 square kilometer open world where every decision you make will have an impact. While traversing the world, you'll come across various factions and have to make a choice of whether you want to team up or eliminate them. And if that wasn't enough, there will also be mutated monsters that will try to eliminate you with different tactics. The game also features a hunger and sleeping system, as it is a survival game, as well as a day-night cycle. And as for those of you who love to tweak things to perfection, the game's going to offer mod support. Finally, there is a multiplayer mode in development, though it won't be ready by launch. However, it will come as a free update later down the line. If you've been waiting patiently on this one, you'll be able to jump in on Xbox and PC September 5th. Right after that, we'll be getting Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2, another long-awaited title. In it, you'll embody the superhuman skill and brutality of a Space Marine as you tear through swarms of Tyrannid. Based off the gameplay, there'll be hundreds of enemies on the screen at once, and you can either purge solo or team up with up to 3 players in co-op. The campaign is replayable with 6 different classes to choose from. You've got Tactical, Assault, Vanguard, Bulwark, Sniper, and Heavy. If that wasn't enough action for you, there's also a 6v6 PvP mode where you can bring honor to your faction. If you're ready to join the Imperium, you'll be able to do so on all major platforms other than Switch September the 9th. Later on that month, we'll be getting Throne and Liberty. This one is one of the few traditional style MMOs releasing this year, with all the aspects you'd expect, such as dungeons, world bosses, and large-scale PvP. Where it kind of deviates though is in the combat, as it has a dual weapon system and the class you are is based upon the weapons you wield. And while we are genuinely interested in playing this one, there are also a lot of concerns we have. At the top of our list is the longevity of the game. Throne and Liberty had its initial launch in Korea back in December with a fairly decent player base. However, those numbers quickly dwindled due to an intensive grind and pay-to-win systems. Hopefully, a lot of that gets ironed out by Amazon before it comes to the West, but I wouldn't get my hopes up as this is an NC-soft game. If you're hungry to try a new MMO, this one will be releasing on PC September 17th. After that, we'll be getting The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. This time around, you'll be playing Zelda after mysterious rifts begin to appear, taking many people, including Link. But with a little help from the Fairy Tri, you'll acquire the Tri-Rod. By waving the rod at an object, you'll be able to reproduce duplicates of that object known as echoes. These echoes will be used for many things, such as traversal, puzzle solving, and even combat. While there's no exact number of how many echoes there are in the game, they did share that there are a lot, and with so many ways to use them, I'm sure we'll see some pretty interesting gameplay out of it. If you're interested in picking this one up, it'll be releasing on Switch September 26th. Moving into the next month, we've got Super Mario Party Jamboree. You probably already know exactly what this game is all about, but in case you don't, it's a bunch of mini-games that you compete in as you navigate around a game board, and at the end, all the accomplishments add up to stars that are divided out to determine the winner. This one will offer 5 new game boards and feature 2 of the previous boards, one from the original Mario Party and another from Mario Party 2. It'll feature over 110 mini-games for you to test your skills at button mashing and coordination. And if you don't have any friends around the house to play with, you can always go online and participate in the 20-player Koopathon. These games are a lot of fun, and if you haven't played one before, you should definitely give it a shot. If you're looking to prove you're the ultimate button masher, Super Mario Party Jamboree will be releasing on the Switch October 17th. The next month, we'll be getting Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Call of Duty is back again with its latest entry into the franchise. This time around, we should be getting a full campaign that takes place in the early 90s following the events of the Cold War. During this time, there's been a mysterious force infiltrating the CIA, and many operatives have been forced to go rogue. There will be lots of action-packed moments as well as cloak and dagger activities, and is supposedly described as a spy thriller. As for the other content, there's been 16 new maps added for the multiplayer experience, and round-based zombies will be making their return. If you're looking to pick up the latest entry in the Call of Duty series, it'll be releasing on all platforms other than Switch on October 25th. Shortly after that, we'll be getting Life is Strange Double Exposure. The latest entry in the Life is Strange series will have you back in the role of Max Caulfield as she shifts between timelines in order to prevent the murder of her friend. If you haven't played any of the previous Life is Strange games before, it's very story-driven and you'll be making choices every step of the way. If that sounds like the type of game you'd enjoy, this one would be great to pick up. If you're interested in helping Max prevent the loss of her best friend, you'll be able to pick this one up on all major platforms October 29th. Kicking things off for the month of November is the new Mario & Luigi Brothership. After over 9 years, Mario and Luigi will be making their return. In this new seafaring adventure, Mario and Luigi have found themselves on Shipshape Island, which is part ship, part island, located in the world of Concordia. It's from here they'll be able to use a cannon to launch themselves to several other islands to complete quests. Along the way, you'll encounter several familiar faces who may help you on your journey. The combat in the game is turn-based and requires you to work together with all the new powerful Bros attacks. If you're ready to reunite with the Mario Bros, this one will be releasing on Switch November 7th. One day later, we'll be getting Slitterhead, an action horror from an indie team with some big names, one of which being Kiichiro Toyama, known for creating Silent Hill. In this game, you'll be playing as Hoiki, an entity devoid of memory and physical form. Your goal is to eradicate monstrous beings known as Slitterheads who have disguised themselves as humans. And I don't know if it's just me, but when I see these things, I get major Parasite vibes, like when you see their heads open up and their bodies change shape. Either way, it looks interesting and we're down to test it out. If you're looking to play Slitterhead, it'll be releasing on all major platforms other than Switch November 8th. After that, we'll be getting Avowed, an action RPG that's often been compared to Skyrim, which makes sense as the gameplay looks very similar. However, there's a few key differences between them, one of which is Skyrim's open world. Avowed doesn't share the same concept and is instead broken down into areas that are open to explore. Another main difference is that it puts more emphasis on story, which in it you play as an envoy sent to investigate rumors of a plague spreading throughout the land. The combat is first person with swords, magic, and even guns. Lastly, there are companions who will join alongside you, each with their own unique abilities. If you're looking to seek adventure through the lands of Eora, you'll be able to do so on all major platforms other than Switch, November 12th. A few days later, we get Assassin's Creed Shadows. This time, you'll be heading to Japan in the 16th century. The game will be focused around a millennia-old struggle between the Assassin Brotherhood and the Templar Order. One of the key differences this time is that there will be two protagonists, Naoe, a female shinobi, and Yasuke, a male samurai. The purpose of this is to have two characters that you can control differently, allowing you the option to approach quests in multiple ways. The world is said to be roughly the same size as it was in Assassin's Creed Origins, with various seasons that will reshape the environment. Another new feature being introduced this time around is the ability to crawl, providing you with a low profile and the ability to access small openings. If you're looking to take up your sword against the Templars, this one will be releasing to all major platforms other than Switch on November 15th. Rounding things off for the games with confirmed release dates is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This one is the third game in the series dating all the way back to 1982. There are several different options for flight, with a new career mode offering over 16 new mission types to help give you more diversity and ways to enjoy the game. I've never played one of these before, but man, does this one look beautiful, and I can only imagine how much fun it would be with a sim flight setup. If you're ready to take flight, this one will be releasing on Xbox and PC November 19th. Well, that's it for games with confirmed release dates. Up next is the expansions coming down the pipe. Starting off with Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. This one's going to be taking us to the continent of Toril. It's here where you'll begin a new adventure revolving around the Rite of Succession ceremony, which is to help determine the next leader of Toriel. There are a few notable changes that will be coming with this expansion, such as a level cap increase from 90 to 100, as well as 2 new character classes and 1 new playable race. Also, the game will be receiving its first major graphics update since its relaunch in 2013. If you've been taking a break for a while, it sounds like it'll be an excellent time to jump back in. Dawntrail will be releasing on all platforms other than Switch on July 2nd. After that, we'll be getting the first expansion for Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. This one will be coming off the heels of Season 4 and will bring us some new content that will hopefully keep the ball rolling. With it will be a whole new zone called Nahantu, as well as the brand new Spiritborn class. which appears to be some sort of agile melee class that wields a double-sided polearm. Also, we'll be getting more story with the new campaign as we begin our search for Nyril, who's been struggling with carrying the Soul Stone. Next are the Mercenaries, which are powerful allies that you can recruit to join you on your quests. Each will have their own unique abilities and will grow in power as you level up. Finally, they added a new multifaceted dungeon with powerful challenges and promising rewards. This dungeon will require a party and is the first of its kind in Diablo. All in all, it sounds like a fairly decent update, and we'll be checking it out as soon as it drops. If you want to pick this one up, it'll be releasing to all platforms other than Switch on October 8th. Rounding off our DLC list is Starfield: Shattered Space. This one's going to be focused around the House Varun, which is one of the factions in the game. While little is currently known about the group, all that seems to be changing as soon you'll be setting out to investigate what secrets they're hiding. With the expansion, we'll be getting some new features and customization as well as new planets and enemy types. If you're looking to uncover the mysterious House of Varun, this one will be releasing later this year. That may be it for the games with official release dates. However, there are still some titles expected to be dropping this year. First on the list is The Altars. This one is a survival game where you must avoid the sun's radiation. To do this, you will need to gather resources and work on the construction of your wheel-shaped base. The base building system is similar to other titles such as Fallout Shelter and XCOM. You'll attach new rooms and advance in technology, all while maintaining your crew's well-being. Your crew is composed of many various versions of yourself known as altars. Each one will have its own life path and skill set. But be careful, as each altar you create has their own emotions and needs. Neglect them and they may act rashly, leading to unforeseen consequences. With the maximum limit on altars, make sure you choose wisely or you may not be able to escape before the sun rises and obliterates your crew. If you're interested in making clones to survive the impending doom of the sun, this one is set to release on all major platforms other than the Switch later this year. After that, we've got Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which appears to be changing directions from its predecessors. This time the game seems to be going for a lighter tone and is set to take place after Dragon Age Inquisition. The story takes place on the world of Thedas, which needs a new leader to reshape the fate of its world. That's where you come in to take on the role and bring light in time of darkness. Currently, there's not much information about the game, but what we do know is that you'll be able to pick between 4 different lineages: human, dwarf, elf, or Qunari, as well as the background story with one of 6 faction associations. There has also been a change that will allow players to customize the world state during the character creation, while in previous titles the player's world state was imported from save files. While this might not be the Dragon Age that we're used to, it could still be good in its own way. This one is expected to release sometime in the fall. Next on the list is Light No Fire, an adventure survival sandbox from Hello Games. The main focus behind Light No Fire lies in exploration, as the world is procedurally generated and said to be boundless. Every mountain can be climbed and every cavern can be explored as you uncover the lore behind this fantasy world. The game is multiplayer, so you'll be able to join up with other players to build persistent communities and tame wild creatures such as dragons that you can ride through the air. It's impressive by what we've seen, though I feel we still know very little about what all there will be, and I can't wait to learn more. If you're looking to explore this infinite Earth, it's currently slated to be released on PC later this year. Up next is Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2, the second part of the story of Henry, a blacksmith who's seeking revenge for the death of his parents. If you didn't play the original, it's a first-person action RPG set in 15th century medieval Europe. One of the areas it really shines is in how accurate it feels with the setting and the combat system. There are a few notable changes this time around. The first one being the size of the world. This one is said to be twice as large as the original, which is always great for those who like to explore. Also, they're adding crossbows and early forms of firearms that can be used while riding. Finally, they've improved on the animations, as this time they added facial capture and used stunt riders to help give it a more realistic feeling. If you want to hop back into Henry's shoes, this one will be releasing to all platforms other than Switch later this year. After several years, Satisfactory will finally be launching into 1.0. If you haven't heard of it, it's an open-world factory building game with some exploration and a bit of combat. It mostly centers around creating factories that produce supplies and figuring out the best way to automate them. The further you progress, the more machines you unlock, as well as upgrades to help you traverse the landscape easier and safely. They've made some big changes for the full launch, such as removing certain veins and adding in new ones, as well as a massive update to optimization on their conveyor belts. And they even reworked certain recipes to make it easier to craft certain items. If you're looking for an open world base building game full of automation, I'd highly recommend checking this one out, and it's set for PC release later this year. Finally, we've got The Thing Remastered. This one is a survival horror shooter that's a remake of the 2002 game. In it, you'll be playing as Captain J.F. Blake, leader of a U.S. Special Forces rescue team sent to investigate the blood-curdling events and enigmatic deaths of the American scientific team that transpired at Outpost 31. There's a total of 20 levels that you'll need to lead your team through, and depending on how you influence your team, will determine whether they trust you and are willing to cooperate or not. There's also optional paths for you to solve problems, so you may want to think things through and determine if that's best for your team, or if you want to make it through this alive. If you're willing to take on The Thing, it'll be releasing on all major platforms later this year. That's going to wrap things up for this list. However, if there was a game that we didn't mention, feel free to drop it in the comments down below, because we would love to know which games you guys are most excited about. And if you haven't yet, be sure you're hitting that subscribe button. That way you never miss a video. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Say that it feels right.